Perfect example of something that sounds good, but is essentially useless and serves no purpose. Okay, we need to talk about the UAFX OX Stomp. Hey everyone, the name is Kris. Welcome to Gear Corner. Today, I want to talk about the new UAFX OX Stomp, this pedal, which is in a way the aux box, but just a part of the aux box. Now, I used the aux box for, my gosh, I don't know, 4 years at least. I really know what it does, how it sounds, etc. And I've seen quite a bit of confusion about the OX Stomp. What I want to do today is give you my opinion on it, show you some sounds, tell you how I would use it, how I would recommend using it, what kind of player, in my opinion, would love it and benefit from it, and who is just better off choosing something else. Number one is that it's not a load box. So that's the first confusion that I've seen in comment sections. People asking like, hey, can I connect this to my amp instead of using a cabinet like a speaker? No, this is not an aux box. If you want to do that, then you need this or something similar. That's where you have the load box that's going to protect the amplifier, and you can safely use it without connecting a speaker cabinet to your amp. The OX Stomp, has the same chip, the same computer, same software as what the aux box uses for the cabinet and microphone emulations, like all the cap, sim and everything, but it does not have a load box. This is mainly going to be really useful for those who use multi-effects and want to extend the cabinet emulation parts of their sound. This is going to be awesome for preamp pedal users, people who like having their sound on the board without connecting to an amplifier. This can be the last pedal in row. And also obviously to those amplifier users who already have a load box, they just don't have a speaker emulation, or they have something but they're not super happy with it. So if they have a load box, they can come out of the line out of that and go into the aux Stomp's input and then use these cabinet and mic emulations, and then go into the interface if you want to record, or go into the front of house if you're playing a show. What you see here in front of me is a good example of how you could use the aux Stomp. This is the Friedman IRX, which is a Friedman preamp, and it offers IRs, impulse responses, which you can switch with this little mini toggle, and you can also bypass the IR. If you long press, like hold the first foot switch, you turn off the IRs, and then the output is just literally the preamp without any cap simulation. So with that, I can go into the OX Stomp and choose the cabinet, the microphones, the room mic, whatever I want here, and all the extra stuff that it offers. We'll talk about that in a second. And then go out, and then you have your sound. what I did right there is already, but first of all, showing how the Friedman preamp, the first channel with some crunch sounds with the OX Stomp, and also I turned on the reverb, the plate reverb that's inside the OX Stomp, which is one of the sweetest feature of the OX box as well. I use it all the time. And then with this other foot switch, with the foot switch A, I turned on a crazy cool stereo delay. So this is something that's already a big thing about the OX box, and obviously the OX Stomp as well. The effects on top of just having a cabinet and microphone, or a mixture of microphones emulated, those effects are undescribable, really. The compressor, the 1176 that's inside there in both units, is just the sweetest thing. That's the first thing that you would do when you record guitar. It's just such a good little seasoning to guitar tones. You have an EQ in the master section and the delay and reverb. So those things already make this a small multi-effect. This could just be so much more than just your cabinet simulation. Before we get into the pedals UI and the whole experience of using it, using the app or not needing the app as much as some would assume, etc. Before we get there, I want to do one thing. I want to show you the comparison between a really good example of an IR, impulse response, which the Friedman IRX has built in. It has 3 IR options, and my favorite one is the first one actually. So I will enable the IR here and disable the OX Stomp. So this is now bypassed, it just goes through. You will hear the Friedman now with its built-in IR, and then I'll disengage the IR and turn on the cab simulation that I use in the OX Stomp to show you what kind of, I don't know, dynamic range or what kind of experience and differences you should expect. Universal Audio doesn't really want to compete with the most versatile brands ever, like all the, you know, Line 6 and Headrush and you name it, all those brands that do amazing job at making very versatile, super flexible, controllable, MIDI, all those things. They aim for a different audience. They want to speak to those people who wanna, who would prefer to use the actual super nice sounding, very non-versatile, original analog gear, right? All the old stuff, all the old cabinets and vintage mics and whatever, and they want to give you the digital option to go silent with the OX Stomp or OX box. All the UAFX pedals go in this direction. They want to capture a specific thing or a couple of, you know, unique items or units, old units, and want to give you the 100% accurate digital recreation of that. They don't want to include IR loading capabilities because the way the OX does the emulation is so different that they would have to implement a whole new section, like something that can actually load IRs. This is a very different technology, and they didn't want to overcomplicate it. It feels like they did their best to capture those things. Those are the options, and if you like those options, then it's your kind of gear. If you want to use your IRs, then don't get this, obviously. Get something else that's gonna be maybe even cheaper and will mainly load IRs, and then you're good. You have 2 microphones, you can set the volume independently, you can choose the types of microphones you want to have, you can set up how loud the room mic should be with this speaker breakup, which is super subtle. In some cases you don't really hear a lot, but depending on the sound, this can just give some edge to the tone and some well, speaker breakup, and obviously the output, and that's it. If you want to have a rig on foot switch A and another rig on foot switch B, you have that and you're good. You don't have to touch the app if that's all you want. The 6 rigs that are already pre-saved, like the factory presets on the OX Stomp, are so good that you don't really ever have to touch the app unless you want something very specific, or if you're into something very different than what they went for and what the factory presets can give you. I'll show you what you can tweak on the pedal itself without using the app, and I'll choose rig number 1, which is a greenback loaded 4x12 cabinet. Just check out the mics, swap the mics with the 2 toggle switches, play around with the room mics, etc. So that's going to be the first thing, and then I'll just walk you through all the other 5, so 2 to 6, all these rigs without any tweaking, just to show what is happening, like what's inside the pedal already, before you even touch the app. If you want to go deeper into editing the OX Stomp, you will use the app, and it's a super simple app to use. You have to connect them with Bluetooth, and then just choose the rig you want to edit, tip on it, and see what's up. This is a factory preset. It's called the green punch. If you want to edit it, you can already see the cabinets. These are the 4x12 options, the thick, the GB25 thick, the greenback 25 watt speaker thick. 4x12 is selected. You can of course change that to 1x12, 2x12, or any of the 4x10s or 12s, because there's a Bassman 4x10 as well. And then you can choose of course the mics, whatever you want. This is a condenser 67. Such a great Neumann mic, and the the ribbon, the Royer 121. And if you open that little sort of window for for the mics, you can then decide on the level, the pan, low cut, on axis, off axis, and also EQ it. And then, of course, you can do the same thing for for the second mic and also for the room mics. This is now condenser stereo room mic selected. And if you open it up, you can also set up the level in the app. Pan, the same things, low cut, dampening or leaving the room more sort of reflecting. And of course, you can EQ that as well. And then down here, you arrive to the master section. There's the master output and these 4 things, the master EQ, compressor, delay, and reverb. You can choose to have these on or off per rig and save it that way. So you can just simply use it. It's pretty much like a preset. What's really interesting about the delay is that if you open it up, you have all these options: dual, crossover, ping pong, chorus, and flanger. And of course, there's the plate reverb, which is, yeah. And since the pedal does so many things, it makes so much sense to offer different foot switch modes, what these two will do. The standard is A and B, so it's like a rig A and rig B. You can also change that to delay on and off and reverb on and off. You can select rig A and B here and C and D here, so you can actually access 4 different rigs. And then you can also leave this for A and B and use this just for delay on and off, reverb on and off, or all the effects on and off. So delay and reverb. There are a couple of videos online already on the OX Stomp. It's been out for a few weeks now, and I wanted to react to a couple of comments that I've seen under those videos. Great sounding device with such versatility, yet no possibility of MIDI control. Unbelievable deal breaker. This is not competing with all those MIDI capable, super versatile, those rigs. This is for people who do not want to have a complicated rig. They just want to have something that sounds as good as possible. Here's another one, perfect example of something that sounds good, but is essentially useless and serves no purpose. Which comes back to the same thing. It's just probably not the right kind of gear for you. If you want MIDI or whatever else you're missing, well, then go for something else. There are many really cool products that will do that. This is there for those people who want the analog gear but don't want to or cannot use it or buy it or whatever. It's much more affordable than those things that it emulates, and it does it on the highest possible audiophile level, which is something that I care most about. And of course, there's the other camp. This looks nice. I don't like getting lost in endless software menus. Exactly. Everything can sound good. If you don't mind menus and tweaking until it sounds good, then go for those versatile, complicated rigs. It's gonna be awesome. I hate wasting time on that. I want something that has 5 knobs or 6 or 3, and it sounds great out of the box. I can fine-tune it to my taste in 2 minutes, and I'm done. Then I can start playing guitar. And then, of course, a couple of legit points, which I kind of agree with. No XLR out for running direct to a mixing board. I wouldn't mind having balanced outputs, so TRS jack outputs, so that you don't have to use a DI box necessarily. You can go straight into your interface or straight into like a mixer or whatever. That being said, Same thing with the aux. I use these two jack cables and go straight into my interface. I don't use a DI box at home because I don't have to, apparently, because it sounds great. There's no noise. It all works fine. So you can use these straight into an interface. No headphones out. It would make total sense to have one on this thing. Yes. Full stop. All right, take it easy. Let me know in the comments below what you think about the aux Stomp. Yeah, and how you would implement something like this in your rig. Would you use it with like a preamp pedal, with just simply with overdrives, or do you have like maybe an amp with a load box, multi-effect, whatever it is? Let me know in the comments below, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.